Good evening and Merry Christmas. The reason I'm doing this is because you guys are all getting a Christmas present from me that is involved with the hobby that I've developed over the last couple of years. And now I'm going to show you what to do with the present that you're going to get. So I'm trying to make sure you can see what's going on here. This is not going to be exactly like what you got in the mail or what you're picking up. This is actually what they call concentrates from the gold fields of North Carolina. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan this down and show you how to do it. And you'll be able to take your pay dirt bags, which is what you got in the mail, and do the same thing. Now I'm going to start this, and then I'm going to bring the camera closer so you can see the actual process. So you'll know what to do with your Christmas presents. So, yeah. Now, gold pan has ripples in it that are sharp on one edge, and they're designed to keep gold, which is the heaviest thing in the material, from panning out, from flushing out of the pan. There's some tricks to it that you have to do. And the first one is you got to get your material wet. You get it in the pan and you get it good and wet. Make sure it's good and wet. And then you do what's called stratifying. That's what I'm doing by shaking this like this. Shaking this to stratify it. What that does is it gets the gold, which is the heaviest thing, to sink to the bottom of the pan. Even the tiniest piece of gold is going to be heavier mass-wise than the bigger stones in the material. So I'll bring you closer here after I get this down a little bit, and you'll see that what I'm telling you is the truth. Next heaviest thing in most material, practically all material that you use for, or you get out of panning for gold or digging for gold, is black sand. Black sand is, composition is basically iron, magnetite, or hematite, which is very heavy also. It's the next heaviest thing. I'm trying to get this so it's not cocked. It looks like it's going to be cocked no matter what I do. Well, maybe not. Trying to set it up so that you can easily see what I'm doing with this. Now, shake it, stratify it. After you wash some material off, washing the lighter material off, you do it again. You re-stratify. You also tilt your pan towards the ripples, and that makes sure that the gold stays in the bottom or behind the ripples in the pan. Now, as I do this, you're beginning to see that the material, the lighter material, is washing off, and you're beginning to see black material. That's black sand. Okay. Now, once you get your stuff panned down far enough, you start to wash it much more carefully. And you'll see that I've got mostly black sand left in there. Then what you do is you want to carefully wash it back. I'm hoping you can see this as I do it. Separate the black sand from the gold. Now while you're doing this, it's usually a good idea to just tap the end where you expect the gold's going to be. And that forces the heavy stuff, including the gold, to go in the direction that you're tapping it. And I see gold already. It's very fine, but it's there. I was kind of at a loss what to get people. And I figured it'd be something different that you might be able to enjoy. Every now and then you get a piece of gold that wants to float down or roll down. You got to keep tapping. You might have to push it back up there. Now, okay, I've got about 6 or 7 little flakes in here that I panned free. So you're going to have a lot more gold in your pay dirts than I've got in this batch of material probably. So, and I'll try to show this to you. Now this is very fine gold, but if you look up here, you'll see there are, I mean, if I can get it out of the glare or whatever, there are some very fine pieces of gold up in there. I tap and they'll come together. And then what you do, you still have a little bit of water in your pan. You take one of the other things that I gave you, which is a snuffer bottle, and you squeeze it. You put the water over top of it, let the water flow over top of the gold, and you suck the gold up into your snuffer bottle. And you shake it to keep it in there. And when we're done with this, which I'll do another scoop or two, I'll do a snuffer dump so you can see, have a better idea of what it looks like after you pan it. Now, there's probably some very fine gold in this, but I have the machines, I have tools to recover it. So just to whoosh it back one more time just to see, and I can tell that there's very fine gold that you probably can't see. But I'll suck that up too. Alright, we'll do another scoop and then I'll do a snuffer dump. Don't put any more in there than you think you can handle, maybe about a tablespoon or so in the size pans that I sent you. And you stratify it and you tilt it towards the riffles that you're going to use in the pan. Your pay dirt bags have a guaranteed amount of gold in them. So you can expect that you're going to be able to see what you get much easier than what I'm getting here. But when I do the snuffer dump, you'll see that my last trip to North Carolina, which includes this, was not bad at all. So anyway, you get your bigger stones out. Make sure your fingers are underwater and the stones are underwater when you do it so you don't drag gold out with it. Stratify. And then you wash off the heavy stuff. When you shake it like that, it makes the heavy stuff float to the top. I mean, the lighter stuff float to the top and heavier stuff sink to the bottom. So, of course, that's the whole idea of panning. That's why it works. Now, I've only got so much material left in there, so I'm going to go ahead and do a tap, and then we'll wash it back. Gently, carefully, watching what you're washing. already gold coming up. There's a lot of gold in North Carolina. It's mostly fine gold. You got gold in those bags. Some of you got gold from California, Arizona, and some of you got it from North Carolina. But like I said, there's a guaranteed amount of gold in your pan. There's a nice piece there. Alright, I'll tell you what I'm going to do since it's late and it's actually Christmas Eve now. I'm going to suck this up. And instead of doing a long video, I'm going to go ahead and do a snuffer dump so you can see. And there's a piece of gold down there. When you tap that, the gold will go in the direction you're tapping. That's what I just did with that flake of gold there. The black sand will too, but not as quickly or easily as the gold will. So I'll be going through this material a couple more times before I resort to the more the machines, the tools that I have to really separate it. But there's more. There's always more. Now, before I go any further, I'll show you how to get your gold from the snuffer bottle into the vial that you, well actually I'll show you this after I pan this down, that you also got in the kit that I sent you. Now this is the gold that I just sucked up out of panning there, and the rest of the gold that I got when I was in North Carolina last time. There's not as much as I would have gotten in Arizona or California. It's just mostly fine in North Carolina, and that makes it a little harder to accumulate a good amount. But you'll be able to see this. There's a little bit of black sand left. There we go. Okay. Now, like I said, that right there is some of the gold that I got in North Carolina the last time I was there. And that's not too bad. That's not too bad. There's more in that bucket. And I'll get that separated as I go along, but it's there's no rush. The gold's not going anywhere. Okay. Now, step one, and this is another thing. You might notice it, you probably don't, but you could be noticing. I just dropped the damn thing. Hold on. But sometimes when you get that water agitated, finer gold will actually float. So you got to make sure that you don't pan it out when it's floating. Now you can put some Dawn dishwashing liquid or some Jet Dry in your water, and that helps prevent that from happening. Breaks the surface tension. Jet Dry is what you use in your dishwasher for spots. To keep the spots off your glassware. very fine gold all over the place in here. Alright, now I'll show you the next step. This is taking the gold from your snuffer bottle and putting it in your vial. The first thing you do is you take your snuffer bottle and you remove the stem. Some of them just pull right out the way, this way. This type pulls out the back way. Then you take the cap off your vial. Put your snuffer bottle back together without the hose in it, without the straw in it. And you get enough water in your pan there to submerge your bottle. You want it submerged so that there's no bubbles in it. Once you do that, you take your snuffer bottle, you tilt your vial up, and you stick your snuffer bottle in there and you shake it. Like I'm doing. Okay. You do it over your pan to make sure you don't lose any. And then you tilt your snuffer bottle up and look and make sure you got it out of there. There might be some more. You might have to do this a couple times. That gold's the heaviest thing, so it's going to drop through the water anytime gravity gives it a chance. Then you take your thing, your vial, and you stick it in the cap down in the water, submerge them, and put the cap back on. And there's still a good bit of black sand in with that, but you'll be able to see the gold when I flip it around here. There we go. Let me make sure you can see it. And that's the way to keep your gold. That's not too bad. Okay, now like I said, this is what you're getting for Christmas. So, God bless, Merry Christmas, and remember that I love yous all. And I'll see you the next time I see you.